What's up, Bills Mafia? Welcome to Bills HQ, where we talk all things Buffalo Bills football and NFL. I'm your host, Julian Mott, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a 12-3 football team. A 12-3 football team. First of all, how are we feeling? I'm feeling pretty good. Hair's a little rough. That's all right. Had to bring you guys a vid today. I was feeling pretty good. I was like, we ain't bought the people a vid in a minute. And the Bills are 12-3 after their 35-13 win over the Bears out of nowhere, really. I mean, they're losing at halftime, and then boom, it's 35-13. That's what happens when a good team plays a bad team. That's what was supposed to happen the whole game, and it didn't, and that's okay. But but yeah, we got a few standouts from this game. Let's see what we got. First thing, Bills running game. How about that running game? And it's so funny because the season is so long. There's always going to be something to nitpick. There's always going to be something that you may not like, or something that you like a lot, or something that you maybe liked in the beginning of the season that they're not doing well now. And obviously, the running game has been a big thing for the last 3 years. Like since this iteration of the Bills have been good, they have not been a great running team. And it's not even really about volume. It's just about when you decide to run the football, how effectively can you do it? And they have just have not been as effective as they've needed to be, or maybe as they've wanted to be. I don't really care about running the football. A couple weeks ago when we played the Dolphins, a lot of Dolphins fans were saying, "Hey, they should have ran the football more." And I mean, maybe every time you hand the football off, it's a W for the defense, in my opinion. Like anytime Hill and Waddle don't have the ball, it's a W. And I think the same thing really can be said about the Bills. But of course, you do need to be able to run the ball effectively, and with some sort of volume, even if it's not a huge volume. And honestly, I think the Bills on the ground have been getting it done. I think they've been getting it done. They average what? They had 254 yards rushing. 254. That's a lot of rushing yards. And I know the Bears are a terrible rushing defense. They're near the bottom of the league. I think they're like 30th or something like that, which is awful. Top two or three worst rushing defense in the league. But you still got to get the job done. Like you still got to go out there and make the plays and do it. Like you still got to go out there and make the blocks. You still got to go out there and run the ball. And more importantly, win your one-on-ones and making people miss, which our running backs did. Devin Singletary, making I don't know who number 9 is, but I mean he made them touch the earth. Like he had a hand that hit the ground. And we did what we needed to do on the offensive line at a high level at some points. At a high level. 8.2 yards per carry. Every time we ran the ball, we averaged 8.2 yards. That's incredible. That's incredible. That's a job well done by Ken Dorsey. Um, and obviously Aaron Cromer, I think, is having a big impact as well on the offensive line, offensive line coach. Um, has been a run game coordinator in the past. Like this looks like a Aaron Cromer effect, which is something that we were clamoring for earlier on in the season. And the run game and the way that the offensive line gels together, sometimes can take a minute, and it can it can it can take all the way through the end of the season for them to really start gelling. This we have to remember, like, yes, this is basically, similar players to what we've been seeing, but this is a first year offensive coordinator, brand new at doing the job. We've got a new offensive line coach, right? Who has obviously bringing in a lot of his things that he's done in the past with the Rams. Um, so that's great. But it takes a minute for everything to really come together the way that we're gonna want it to. And it looked dang good on Saturday. It looked dang good. All right. What else we got here? What else we got here? I want to give the running back some love. You know, just since we're talking about the running game, Devin Singletary. I've seen a lot of, this is a Devin Single RB run post. And of course, Devin Singletary could be an effective RB1, especially in this type of offense where, we're supposed to have this overwhelming passing offense. And the rate at which Devin Singletary runs against light boxes is near the highest in the league. Like they're getting a lot of two shell coverages where, they're trying to force you to run the ball, which is kind of my point earlier. Like if they're handing it off to Devin Singletary or James Cook, it's a dub. It's a W for the defense if Josh Allen doesn't have the ball in his hands. But obviously you got to run the ball and you have to run it with some sort of volume. Some sort of volume. And when you run the ball, you have to make sure you're hitting the right holes. You have to make sure you're being patient. And when you get a one-on-one opportunity, you have to make the miss and you have to make a play. And our guys did that. The very first Devin Singletary touchdown, well, the only Devin Singletary touchdown, but the first big rushing touchdown by Devin Singletary, it was blocked up perfectly. Perfect blocking. Great job by Aaron Cromer and the offensive line. Great design, great scheme. And what does it come down to? One-on-one, Devin Singletary against the safety. And like I said earlier, Singletary makes him touch the earth. That's what you have to do. You have to make a miss, and you gotta hit Pater on that. You gotta hit Pater, and that's what Singletary did. James Cook. James Cook is so interesting, and for me, it was such a frustrating thing to talk about and to listen to earlier on in the year. I thought people were just being so impatient. I mean, just incredibly impatient, just expecting him to make a difference day one. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that he offers this offense something that they have not had ever in this iteration of the Josh Allen offense. And that's that speed and that big playability from the running back position. And he's obviously got that. But he was still and is still trying to put everything together and really trying to get used to the speed of the NFL level. I mean, you can see it. Like there's a reason he can't go 5 yards without a little bit of a stumble. Like he's right now, I feel like he's just kind of too fast for his own good. He's just, it's nice to see him just out there playing. It seems like he's doing a little bit less thinking, which means he's getting more acclimated, which is fantastic. And he's showing it. Like James Cook is near the top of the league in explosive runs. He's got a few explosive plays. Like when he gets the ball and he's patient enough and he hits the right hole, he's gone. He hits that thing so fast, just faster than Devin Singletary can. James Cook is he might be a problem going forward if he can put it all together. And to be honest, I don't expect him to put it all together this year. It's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some time. But I like how they're slow playing him. I like the way they're bringing him on. He made some mistakes early, and they course corrected and they worked with him, and they were patient. And there was a lot of talk about practice, and nobody ever actually said he's got to be better in practice. But there was a lot of implying that maybe this player needs to improve with his practice habits and take it a little bit more seriously. And I think that's come to fruition, and it's really showing itself. Um, I was gonna say on Sundays, whenever they play. It's been so inconsistent. They're not even playing on this upcoming Sunday. It's gonna be Monday, so it's really showing up. During the games now, it's really exciting. I'm excited to see where James Cook goes from here. What else we got? We had a good amount of good. Like we won 35-13, so there's a good amount of good, even though a lot of what we've been seeing is bad. Which is okay. We have high expectations for this team. Um, who I want to talk about? Let's talk about Samuel Martin. Sam Martin, good old Sam Martin. I haven't seen great punting like this in a long time here in Buffalo. I mean, Hawk, terrible, trash. I don't even like saying that about players. Trash. You know, decent directional punter, I guess. Hey, elite holder. I can say that. Elite holder. Elite. Bojo, Corey Bojorquez. Obviously he's still around. Trash. Trash. Not good. Huge leg. Gigantic. Could kick it from here to Africa. Trash. He's trash. And everybody else have, whatever. Been fine. This is an elite punter. Elite. I mean directional. Got it. Power. Got it. Directional plus power. Got it. I need you to put it over in the corner there. I need you to punt it 60 yards. But you got to make sure it goes out of bounds because our coverage units are struggling like they were on Saturday. Like our kick coverage units were, I thought, terrible, especially kickoff coverage. I thought it was quite bad. Maybe we'll talk about that a little later, maybe not. But yeah, we need to put this one out of bounds, so we don't even have to worry about that right now. I got you, coach. Oh, and by the way, he's a great holder. There's been no issues with Tyler Bass. I mean, obviously Tyler Bass struggled on Saturday, and yeah, but I think that's I don't even want to know. I don't even know if it's about the weather because their kicker was fine. So I'm that's more on T Bass than it is on Sam Martin. Sam Martin punted 3 times. I'm just looking at the stats. Punted 3 times. Averaged 53.7 gross yards and a 49.7 net when you factor in the returns and things like that. Also he had a 62-yard punt. Totally flipped the field for the Bills. He has some big time punts. Big time punts. Obviously, we don't want to be seeing a whole lot of Sam Martin. It's not a great thing when you see Sam Martin, you know. But when he was called upon, he did his job, and he did his job at a high level, and he's been doing that all year. So I expect that to continue going forward, and that's. I mean, I don't know if it's exciting because again, like you don't want to see him on the field, but at least you don't have to worry about a shank every time he goes out there, like Matt Hawk or Heck. And we won't even talk about the other punter that was here. Let's see here. Now the Bills have been a lot better situationally. I want to clump these two things together. The Bills have been, and they were good throughout the whole year, like on third down, but they had been struggling a little bit in the red zone. I want to put these 2 points together though. They have been struggling a little bit in the red zone. They have fixed that the last 3 or 4 games, where they've been very, very good. One of the best teams in the league in the red zone. And again, situationally, they were fantastic on Saturday. So on third down, they converted 6 of 11 chances, which is great. I think 50% is what you're striving for. Because 50% it would get you near the top of the league. So I got 54.5%, that is, which is great. Which is great. Um, wow. The Bears were 2 of 12. So that's kind of a defensive point too. But this is I was really just talking about offense. 6 of 11, over 50% on third down while holding them to 2 of 12, 16%. That's terrible. The Bears are terrible. We know the Bears are terrible. Let's look in the red zone. It was a good day in the red zone. It was a good day in the red zone. The Bills were only in the red zone 4 times actually, but they scored touchdown 3 of the 4 times. And the Bears were also in the red zone 4 times and converted 1 of 4 times. Obviously, we all know maybe we don't know, but the first time was the very first drive, which it's so interesting to see how they play it. McDermott and Frazier are so interesting the way that they play things. I mean, it seems like every team just walks up and down the field on us the first drive. It's like, just show us what you're gonna do. This is when everything's scripted. You know, let me see what you want to do today. I mean, and then they come out and they're just lights out. don't give you anything. They just don't give you anything. So they score that very first drive, and that's it. Over 3 the rest of the day. 25%. Situationally, the Bills were great on Saturday. 54% on third down, 75% in the red zone. That's going to win you most of your games, especially with the talent on this team. Especially with the talent on this team. What do we want to hit next? There's a good amount of good. There's a lot of good. How about the defense on Justin Fields? Now, I'm not the type of person that thinks Justin Fields is the greatest football player of all time or anything like that. Certainly not. But man, this dude is dynamic with his legs. And he can make some downfield throws too. He made one against the Bills with Kyer in coverage and Trey kind of trailing. I thought Trey was gonna get that ball, and I mean Justin just put it in the perfect spot. He could not have put that in a better spot. So that's really well done. But you know, on the ground is where they had the best chance of really killing the Bills, right? Justin Fields is over 1,000 yards on the ground this year, which is amazing. Not many quarterbacks do that. It was actually a duel between two running quarterbacks. We know Josh Allen is over 700 yards on the ground this year. And the Bills, the Bills are terrible. The Bills are absolutely awful at tackling. The Bills are one of the worst, if not the worst team in the league at tackling. They're awful. And Justin Fields was a break tackle machine. Like, I mean, he would have at least one or two explosive plays on the ground game where he's breaking 3 or 4 tackles and just going. So that was one of my big worries. Like, we need to be able to tackle against this team because they run their quarterback and their quarterback's really good and great at breaking tackles, and they're decent in the screen game. Both of those things require you to come up and make tackles, which the Bills are not good at. So, as we look at the numbers from this weekend, we're going against a quarterback who already had 1,000 yards rushing. Let's see. By the way, guys, he had run for at least 55 yards in each of the last 3 games. Each of the last 3 games, at least 55 yards. Against the Bills, Justin Fields had 7 carries for 11 yards. 7 carries for 11 yards. Lowest rushing output of the season. And this is what I say. Like, for people who want to say the Bills are bad against the run, I think the Bills give you a choice. Like, why were they so bad against Miami in the run game? They were inviting them to run. Please give Mostert the ball. We want you to. We want them running because we don't want Hill and Waddle to have the ball. So go ahead, Mostert. It's all you. It's all yours. And I think that's when we really struggle. We really struggle against teams that do both things at a high level, which is not a lot of teams at all. Not a lot of teams at all. I think the Cowboys, when Dak isn't doing stupid stuff, the Cowboys can be up there. They got 2 good running backs. They got a decent line. They got a good receiver. I thought the Bengals might have been one of these teams. Obviously, we know they have a top 3 receiving group in the league with Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. But then they have Joe Mixon and P. Ryan at running back. 2 good running backs, but I don't know if they've either. And I'm still kind of getting into the Bengals. I don't know if they just don't attempt to run the ball. I know they're near the top of the league, if not at the top of the league in neutral pass rate. Situations, meaning that in a neutral situation, they're passing the ball. They're number 1. The Bills are probably like number 2 or 3 or whatever. Um, so I don't know if it's just that they don't try and do it, but they've got two good running backs, and you think they have a decent enough line to do it. Run blocking is normally a little bit easier than pass blocking for linemen. So even if they don't have the best pass blocking line, and they did just lose their best lineman for the year. I forgot his name for some reason, but they just lost him for the year. But that's when the Bills really struggle, like against offenses that are doing both things at a high level. The Bears don't do that. The Bears barely do anything at a high level. So it's no surprise once they got acclimated to what the Bears really wanted to do, they shut them down. No contest. No contest. 2.2 average 2.8 yard average on the I mean, just nothing. Absolutely nothing. Talk about Ed Oliver for a bit. And I think after this, maybe we'll talk about some kind of rough things that happened and then wrap it up. But Ed Oliver obviously got hurt earlier in the year against the Rams, the very first game, and he was out for the next about I think 3 weeks or something like that. He missed some a good amount of time. And then it took him 2 or 3 more weeks after that to really start feeling right, it seems. And he feels right. This man is a beast. I mean, and I kind of try compare him to Quentin Williams only because they went in the same draft. I think Quentin Williams went third, while Oliver went ninth. Um, so he's different than Quentin. He's not as physically dominant because he's not as big, but the get off mixed with that power that he has and that penetration style that the Bills employ, like everything is coming together for Ed. Everything is coming together for Ed. Um, and he had a game, constant force, finished with 4 tackles, including 2 tackles for loss out of a defensive tackle. He had a sack, a quarterback hurry, and he batted 2 passes. That is having an imprint on the game. That is domination from the defensive tackle position. That is a position where you don't really get numbers. You don't really get analytics. Like a lot of times for a defensive tackle, your impact on the game is not measured in any way numerically. And the fact that I'm reading these numbers off, 4 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, a quarterback hurry, and 2 batted passes. Those are numbers that are amazing. In a world where you have a Daquan Jones, Daquan Jones has been one of the most impactful linemen we've had, but he doesn't have numbers because that's not what he's asked to do. For Ed Oliver to come out and have numbers like this from the defensive tackle position is impressive. And he's just building on week by week by week and just getting better and better and better. And yeah, he's playing on the 5th year option next year, and we'll see what kind of money he's looking at. It's so interesting because I think the value that we as fans have on these players are probably off. Like it's either off, like being higher or lower. Like I feel like the value that we have on Tremaine Edmonds maybe is a little lower, and the value that we maybe have on Gabe Davis is a little higher than it will be. But it's gonna be interesting to see what Ed Oliver commands on the open market if he gets there. Um, we'll do one more good. We'll do one more good. Milano and Edmonds, and they've been great all year. They've been great all year. Now, Milano, who I think has played at near an all pro level, maybe not quite an all pro level, but near an all pro level. He's been struggling a little bit with his tackling a bit. I'm not sure if it's the knee injury because he has been, he was a couple weeks, he was a DMP for, the early practices, just trying to do some load management on that knee. and maybe we were seeing the effects of it, but he looked healthy on Saturday. Him and Edmonds both looked healthy, moving around good. Um, you know, containing run gaps, containing Justin Fields, bringing him down. Obviously, Edmonds is huge in coverage, especially over the middle. The Bills just get exposed when they don't have Edmonds in the middle. I mean, Tyrell Dotson is not it in coverage, and Bernard is just young. He just hasn't seen enough. They were great. The linebackers are great. They combined for 15 total tackles, so they're tackling machines. D line doing a great job of helping them stay clean. Um, the quarterback carrying a pass breakup between the both of them. Just great games. They're all over the field. Sure tacklers this game, which is what you want to see every week from your two every down linebackers. Um, Now not everything was great. So quickly we'll go over some things that I would like to see improved upon going forward, especially on Sunday. I do plan on doing a preview video this week for the Bengals game. Maybe Friday or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Work has died down, so I'll be able to do more videos. Um, yeah, Tyler Bass's misses. Those are a little tough. Um, I know it was a really, really windy game, but their kicker didn't miss any field goals. So, I don't know. Take for what you will. I think we got one of the best kickers in the league. I'm not worried, but I definitely didn't like Tyler Bass's missed field goals. And if we were playing any type of competent team, maybe it could have came to bite us in the butt. Um, Josh was not good passing the ball today, which happens. That happens. More than we like to admit, it actually happens. Or he's not great passing the ball. No, he's so good as a runner. A lot of times it just does not matter. He's so dominant on the field. Like Josh is just a different beast on the field because even if he's not having a great game, he'll make one or two insane throws that will make it great or make it just fine. And even if that doesn't happen, he's just able to take over the game athletically at any moment. He's just able to take over the game athletically, which is just saying something. In a league of men, he is the manliest man. But he wasn't good passing the ball on Saturday. Threw two interceptions. Um, yeah, not good. The one he threw in the double coverage, to Isaiah McKenzie, that one's tough because obviously being fooled is not good. But it wasn't like some of the other ones where it's like, oh my goodness, Josh, what the heck were you even thinking? Like, I mean, they got him. The Bears got him in the coverage that they were in. They had is it Kyler Gordon? They had Kyler Gordon. He was at the line of scrimmage, and I think maybe Josh thought he was blitzing, or maybe he thought he was going to drop out into the flat or something like that. I'm not sure. But Isaiah had that kind of that over route, and instead of blitzing or dropping into the flat, Gordon just he dropped all the way deep back in the coverage, and he got him. And they got him. It's a good scheme. It's a good play. The other team gets paid too. So you know that's gonna happen. And Josh Allen threw three interceptions against the Falcons, the sucky Falcons last year. One of the last games of the season, and I just think that's going to happen every now and then with Josh. And obviously, we had the comments by Nick Wright this morning. I'm recording this on Tuesday. So we had the comments by Nick Wright this morning, bringing up the stats from the last 10 weeks. Since the Kansas City Chiefs game, and basically saying he's been a bottom 10 quarterback since that game when it comes to his passing stats. And that's fine. Like the passing numbers can say that. Now, apparently his QBR and things like that, he's still a top 10 quarterback. I mean, that's fine, but at the end of the day, it's about W's. And Josh Allen makes enough plays to get the W more often than not. He has been this year. We've been winning the close games. He's made one or two throws every game to either get him in the scoring range or put him in a great spot where they can actually execute situationally and get the W. So in the regular season, it's about surviving, and they've been surviving. They're 12-3. They're number one in the conference, and if they win the next two games, they'll be the number one seed in the AFC throughout the playoffs, and they'll get that bye. They'll get that rest. They'll get home fan advantage throughout the playoffs up until the Super Bowl, and more importantly, it's it's likely if they get that number one seed, they will only have to play either of um, Kansas City or the Bengals instead of Kansas City and the Bengals. So, yeah. All that to say, Josh Allen wasn't good on Saturday throwing the ball. um, yeah, I mentioned a little earlier the kickoff coverage. I don't know why the kickoff coverage was so bad. We're normally great at at covering kicks and making sure that that's all good and we are the team when it comes to, oh no, drop that thing at the 1 yard line and make them return it. Do not give them the ball at the 25. Make them get it to the 25. And I love that about them. I love how aggressive they are. And they did it last year and under Smiley, the new offensive coordinator. I'm sorry, the new special teams coordinator for this year. Under Smiley, it's gotten they do it more. They've gotten more aggressive. I love the aggressive nature. You watch Smiley in his interviews, you figure he's going to be a little aggressive, and so I love that. But they were not good at all on Saturday, and it could have been worse because I believe their starting kick returner, Jones, is it? I don't think was it Felix Jones? I think his last name was Jones though. Their starting kick returner got hurt mid game. He was out for the rest of the game. And they had somebody back there returning kicks that never done it before. I believe so. Could have been worse. I mean, that was bad. They'll get that cleaned up, and we'll still have that aggressive nature. We'll do what we need to do, but it was bad on Saturday. What else? What else? Penalties. That's always a weird thing, but there's a lot of just stupid penalties, which is annoying. But 9 penalties for 72 yards. So a lot of critical penalties too. So that's got to be cleaned up. I'm sure that's not something that McDermott likes. Overall, we got another Bills dub. We got another Bills dub. They're 12-3, 12 wins, 3 losses. And I was just thinking about the other day how magical that 2020 season was. I had never in my wildest dreams imagined the Bills being that good, being that dominant, going on that winning streak, having an offense like that, having a quarterback like that, having a receiver like that, having a record like 13-3. I mean, I was big in the record. I would never have imagined the Bills being 13-3. And there they were. Now here we are 2 years later, and the complaining I'm seeing is insane to me. It's absolutely insane. But I get it. This is a different team in a different spot. But lest we not forget where we were up until really like 2019. Forgotten. 1 o'clock every Sunday, which I'd love to get back to. Not winning. Number one rush team in the league. Great. Whatever. What did that get you? Nothing. Number one rush team and one defense. Nothing. It got you nothing. 12-3. Top 3 offense in the league. Everything we want is in front of us. And I got faith. We're gonna do what we need to do. That's our time for today. Make sure you like and subscribe. I am obviously bad at consistent posting, but yeah, we'll try and get a little better at it. We're gonna try and see if we can get a preview video up for the Bengals game. Big, big game. Joey B, love me some Joe Burrow versus J.A. Josh Allen. First time this iteration of the Bills are going against that iteration of the Bengals. I think the last time we played the Bengals, I remember being in 2019 against Andy Dalton. I think it was here at home and we won. Yeah, whatever. Different time, obviously. This is a huge test. This is one of the best, if not the best, receiving group in the league. Like this receiving group is different. You know, it's different than anything they've faced all year. Because obviously they faced Hill and Waddle twice, the fastest receiving group in the league, maybe in league history. But this group just provides such different challenges. Jamar Chase is not Tyreek Hill. Jamar Chase is a man up top, solid. Like Tyreek Hill is a burner, but he's not gonna physical you. Jamar Chase will run past you and he will run over you. He is physical at the catch point. He can get separation. Like even if you try and jam him at the line, like I don't think we're gonna have timing issues like you do with Tua and Tyreek if you jam them at the line. Like you try and if you jam Jamar Chase, like he may feel it, he may not feel it. T. Higgins is totally different than Jalen Waddle. We don't have to go through the whole thing, but this is a team that presents totally different challenges than anything we've seen all year, um, especially offensively. Like they're different. So we'll see about that later on this week. Thank you guys for tuning in to Bills HQ. I hope you have a wonderful wonderful one, and bye bye.